This will be a big week for us, but ready to roll. So, questions?
Any update on Dan Skipper after he left the game?
He'll probably be down for about a week. Got his ankle a little bit. Shouldn't be long term, but he's going to need to lay off of it for a little bit here. He will be out there, individual, group. Don't see him doing any team right now, but he'll be back out moving around, which is good.
One guy who made a few plays in that second half was Campbell.
Yeah.
Seemed kind of like a project. How big strides has he made? And then he didn't play any special teams. Injury.
That was because he was coming off an injury, and we really didn't even know if he'd be able to play in that game. It was kind of last minute. Fish and them took him through a number of things and felt like, hey, he can go. Doing pretty good. The kid felt good. And so we let him go a little bit on defense, but held back on special teams. And yeah, he did a few things. It was a good outing. Especially for his first game, and it did miss some practice time. So we'll see what this is. Certainly, he's going to get more reps this week. He's going to get special teams, and just see where he can go with it.
You use the phrase "he fits us" a lot when talking about guys.
Mm-hmm.
This is 5 teams in 5 years for Rocky Sin.
Yeah.
Just the style of play he has. Is he one of those guys that you just feel fits what you guys are about?
Yeah, I like Rock. We all like Rock. There's, his work ethic, man. He's pretty tough. He's physical. He's headsy, and he's versatile. There's a number of things he can do. We'd like to start working him at some safety too. But he drew a rough matchup in this game on special teams on some stuff. That was just kind of the nature of the way that game was set up. On teams, you can't really do what you'd normally do in a game. You just put a guy. But the defense, the few reps he was in there, man, he showed up on the perimeter, and just like this guy. I mean, he just can do a lot, and he's the same guy every day and just goes to work.
Dan, after watching the film, what did you make of Giovanni Manu's performance, and where do you feel like he's at in his development?
Better. It was better. That's the best way to say it. There's the beginning of camp has been probably more downs than ups, and then the game was more encouraging. And actually, I will say this: I thought his last practice before this game was better. So I do feel an uptick here, and now he just got to build off of that. But always going to be things to work on, but it was better.
Speaking of guys, you said what has Tyler Roll brought to this coaching staff? What do you see from him, not just on the practice field, but in meetings and behind the scenes?
Yeah, I mean, everything he does is very intentional. He's certainly he's a guy that wants to make sure that he's detailed, he's thorough, he's intense, he's got intensity. And he just brings a certain attitude and urgency really to the position that I think is good for those guys. So, he's involved in a number of the things that we're doing offensively, run game, protections, certainly the pass game. When you're coaching that position, you got to know all of it. So he's a good asset, and I bring this up all the time. He's different than the rest of those guys. He's different than Scotty. He's different than John Morton. He's different than Hank, and that's a good thing. He just brings a little bit different type of personality to us, which is good.
What do you like about Avonte Maddox at the safety position?
Well, he's another guy, vet, man. He's a vet. He's a pro. He's been there. He understands how to play. He's a smart football player, very aware. He's aware of his own, like, all right, this is where I got to check myself and make sure that I can do this, or I got to get to this spot a little bit quicker because of my size or whatever it is. He just knows his own deficiency at time can make up for those because he plays one step ahead. So he's another guy. He can do a lot of jobs. He's got a lot of versatility. We know he can play the nickel, but we're asking him to do some safety, special teams if we get in a pinch. he's just, he's a good guy to have because you never know. He can kind of cover you in a number of areas. He can go out and play corner if you have to have him out there too.
One of the things you love about joint practice is you can control the situation and get the evaluations you need. But what didn't you get to see in the preseason game one that maybe you hope to get a longer look at?
Say that again.
In joint practice, you can control the situation. You can get the evaluations you need.
Yeah.
Preseason's a little bit more. It comes to you the way it comes to you. So, is there anything you wanted to see in that game that maybe you didn't get chances because the game situation dictated it?
Like to see more first downs on offense. But I guess you can't really fabricate those either in joint. No. I mean, really, we got to look. We got 2 minutes. If anything, yeah, you'd like to have felt like you got down in the red zone a little bit more offensively and got some of those reps. I mean, the good news defensively, I felt like we got a little bit of everything. Probably minus a good 2-minute drive, but everything else we pretty much saw defensively. Offensively, you'd like to see, just to get down there in that red zone a little bit more, and that that requires not turning the ball over, as we know, and then converting on first downs, but that would be the big thing. Whereas joint practices, you're going to get those. You're going to get plenty of your base reps, red zone, third down, all of those. So probably that.
That's practice. We saw Terrion leave early with a hamstring injury. Just kind of curious what his status is moving forward.
He'll be down for a little bit. It's not a major hamstring. This is a low grade, but we're trying to be smart with it, and we're hoping to have him back. What is today? Sunday, right? We're hoping to have him back by the middle of the week.
Already got an evening practice. Probably just to kind of get used to that.
Practicing later. What do you get out of that? Sort of changing it up to do something a little bit later.
Yeah, it's a little bit of all that. I mean, I we do this once a year. We do this night practice, and so I just know. I always liked it as a player. It was a good change up. It just kind of breaks the monotony of camp a little bit. And then it's, as to what our schedule has been over the last 2 or 3 years. I mean, it's just, you don't know when you're playing. You're playing in the afternoon, you're playing at night, you're playing 5 days away, 4 days away, 6 days, 7 across. So it's just how do we mix up things a little bit and get them used to, to a little bit of the chaos in a good way.
Do you anticipate alternating your starter in the preseason games, starting quarterback, or you kind of?
Yes, I see Hooker starting this first half versus Atlanta, and then Kyle will take the back half.
Do you have any other thoughts on him after watching him out there?
No, I mean, I can tell you both of those guys are, it goes without saying they're frustrated with the way that went, and they both want to improve and get better, and they will.
With the 2 running back package with, Jameer and David, I mean, how much do you think that can give you flexibility to, attack defenses in much in the way that, 15 years ago, I guess 12 personnel was really being used in that way to just kind of get defenses to declare and then, be able to attack whatever the weakness is.
Well, I think, when you're getting another. You're getting another athlete, speed and space, things of that nature. That's one of the areas that you really can. You feel like maybe you can find an advantage there. I don't think you can live in those packages, but I do think they're a good change up to have at times. And then to answer that question, really, it's about how far can. For example, Gibbs. If you're going to do that and you want to do a lot more of it, how much can he? Really expand, the route tree, concept, scheme, like all of that. Physically he can do a lot of things. It's just about being able to invest enough time to get all that stuff done with him because he's still got to get in the backfield, still got to get protections, the route side of the backfield. Now we go outside, which we're working on. So it's just kind of a balancing act with that, but there is a way to use it certainly when you've got the 2 horses we've got.
How about just this year motion using him? Because much like the Wildcat in that sense. Again, you get the defense looking the moving, adjusting, and then you can bang up the middle too.
Well, yeah, I mean those things. There is a place for it, and really, there's nothing new about Pony 21. I mean, that's what we call it, and it's been around for a while. Like Green Bay uses a heck out of it. They always have. LaFleur's big into that stuff, and and it is good. There is a good place for it, and I think it's what are you going to get? What kind of matchup are you going to get? Are they giving you base defense? Are they giving you nickel defense? And if so, what are you going to do out of that? What do you hang your hat on? So there's a place for it. It's just about finding the right balance of how much you use it. What are you going to do with it? How much are you going to put on Gibbs? But also, what about David? What out of that package? What's good for him too? That's why he's out there too. So. Which is all we're working through all of that. It'll be good. It's pretty exciting though,